All right, so in this lesson plan, we're having students developing their skills that are necessary to create a CAM research paper. And the CAM stands for Complementary and Alternative Medicine. And so in this lesson plan, students will be using their prior knowledge of research and their understanding of CAM practices to find and evaluate sources on the internet and decide whether or not these sources are reliable. And so they'll be utilizing their research skills, their ability to evaluate sources on the internet, their paraphrasing and summarizing, as well as writing an informational essay, and of course, providing proper citation. And so after completing this lesson, students will be able to find and evaluate sources on CAM practices, write an essay describing their origins, current and historical practices, and of course providing the evidence for or against the effectiveness of these practices. And finally, they'll show their ability to cite the resources using the APA publication manual style guide. So some of the standards that they'll be covering in this is their ability to cite strong and thorough textual evidence to support their analysis of the text, their ability to determine a central idea of a text, and of course their ability to write an informative essay and being able to examine the complex ideas, concepts, and information within that, and their ability to introduce a topic and organizing complex ideas, concepts, and information to make important connections and distinctions. And so some of the assessments that I'll have is I'll be having students writing parenthetical citations for paraphrases, and so this will provide me samples of their understanding of citations. They'll also be writing an essay describing the origins, current and historical practices of CAM. And this will give me an understanding of their ability to take information from the internet and describing it within their own words, and their ability to paraphrase, of course. And lastly, they'll be citing their resources as well, so their ability to create a bibliography will also be assessed within this lesson. So the main word that they'll be focusing on is evaluate, as they will be evaluating the sources online and deciding their credibility and resourcefulness within their own essays. They'll also be using like analytical skills, citations, their understanding of paraphrasing, and they'll be conducting pair shares and class discussions, and I'll be providing them with worksheets to provide extra guidance for any students that are struggling. For this lesson, not too many resources will be needed. The most important one will be the use of the Internet Lab so that students can conduct their individual research. And some of the prior knowledge students will have going into this lesson is they should have received an introduction to complementary and alternative medicine practices in their health classes. And students will be familiar with the basic guidelines for finding information on the internet, and also being able to paraphrase and summarize the works that they find online into their own words in order to conduct their own informational essay. So in order to hook this class into this lesson, I'll be writing some commonly accepted facts on the board, and I'll be asking the students to determine whether or not these statements are true and how they know this. They'll be discussing how some of the information they know to be true arises through personal observation, but most information is gathered from other sources. And so any source can be mistaken or biased or even misinterpreted. And the process of communication can further delineate from the truth. And so their ability to figure that out will be very important for this lesson. And so starting with the focus instruction, I'll be assigning students to select a CAM practice. For students that may struggle with this, I'll also assign it to them. And I'll be introducing the MLA and APA formats, but I'll be telling them that for this specific assignment they'll be using APA style. And so I'll explain to them how they will be citing their sources in order to allow the audience to verify the research. And so through credible sources, it strengthens their essays. And also for the students that may struggle, I'll be providing a sample of sloppy documentation for those students to correct, just to give them further practice in the APA style. And as for the guided practice, students will practice writing passages about the origins of the CAM practice that they select, and they'll be incorporating paraphrasing or paraphrases from their source materials, and then they will write a second passage on the benefits of their CAM practice and utilizing direct quotes from their research. So this will help help them practice their skills of paraphrasing and then also direct quoting and then properly citing within the text. For the differentiation, since students are learning the difference between cut and paste direct quotes and paraphrasing, I'll also provide them with an electronic copy of the CAM research guidelines and have them cut and paste information directly into the handout. This will just help provide them with a visual format that they can follow easily, and it'll also help them practice the necessary skills that they need for this. And then finally, ending with the independent practice, students will conduct their research on CAM practices on the internet alone, but I will also be handing out articles to students that may struggle with finding credible resources, and so that they can also practice like the source materials. And this class will be ending with a discussion to answer any questions or concerns that students had, especially with the APA style, and also just informing students that they will be working towards expanding their passages, and so that they'll shortly be able to complete a 3 to 5 page research paper on CAM practice.